Hey there, I'm the Accidental Monster.
And I'm eternally mortal.
And this is the Hidden Egg Podcast, where we talk about vulnerability.
As Doofy and Dippy. Don't even worry about it. Anyway, so we're watching the show Erased and talking about the vulnerability inherent within the show and our own vulnerability associated with watching it. It's been great so far.
So you're the one that actually watched 6.5, which was a recap episode.
And so we should probably do a bit of a recap, which I will do since I just watched a recap episode.
Right, I was going to give you the stage there. It was like 17
minutes for that. Okay, so basically, the recap episode told us about our hero, our main character, Satoru, who is a manga artist that is struggling because he's not putting himself in his work. He's not being transparent and vulnerable enough. He should come on our podcast. So he's working as a pizza delivery guy to make ends meet, and has a coworker that's a 17-year-old high school girl and kind of a skeevy boss. And he also has the power of revival, where occasionally time repeats for him, and he has the ability to take action to save a life, typically the life of a child, and sometimes the life of a child that's about to be taken by some sort of horrible fucking person. Anyway, yeah, so he's got this power. Anime, superpowers. That's the way it goes. Okay. What do I want to talk about next?
Well, what else happened in the
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to figure out the place and the directions of everything.
I know. There's so much that's happened. It was only 6 episodes, but there's so much that's happened. So much happens in each episode. It's insane.
So, Satoru, we get introduced to Satoru's power through an event where it actually comes into use, and he has to wake up this truck driver to keep him from running over this kid.
The truck driver died. I remember that. He had a heart attack.
In the process of doing, the truck driver was dead.
Yeah, he was dead.
In the process of doing that, he ended up getting into an accident and waking up in the hospital. Because of that accident, his mother decided to stay with him to make sure he was okay. In the process of his mother staying with him, first of all, him and the high schooler from work ended up having a meal with his mom, and so
if you're gonna get this detailed, this recap's it's gonna be real long.
It was a 17-minute recap. I'm trying real hard to run it along, but it was a long recap. Okay, so anyway, so there's a connection between Satoru's Irie is her name, the high school girl, because we're gonna come back to her,
right?
And so that's the connection, and then
his mom witnessed him having another revival where a child was almost abducted, and she saw the potential abductor.
I took a screenshot of his face during this 6.5 episode because I'm I'm going to remember this fucker's face.
And then that got her going down the wormhole of what happened in their childhood, where there was a bunch of kidnappings happening, and she got to a point where she knew who the killer was. And then she got killed. Or not, the abductor, not killer.
I think he's a killer, too.
And then, I think he's a killer, too. But, he killed her.
Yeah, he did that.
And then made it to where he framed Satoru.
Yeah, he framed the fuck out of Satoru. I thought it was, happenstance before, but no, he's obviously planning all of this out to make Satoru look like the murderer, because there's another scene later on that happens.
Yeah, we find out that this was actually completely planned, and he actually also went after Irie to destroy the evidence and potentially kill her, because she was obviously somebody who had seen his face.
Because she saw his face at the pizza place.
Now. But in the middle of that was a revival that took Satoru back
18 years.
Was it 18 years?
Yeah, it was 18.
All right, 18 years.
18 plus, but not 19.
Back to when he was 10 or 11. Well, he had a birthday, so he was 10, and then he turned 11.
Yep.
And then his goal was to save who he knew was the first victim, Hinazaki, of the rash of kidnappings. And he thought that if he were to save her, then he would be able to save his mom.
Right, because it would kind of prove... Wow.
That's not Do Not Disturb at all.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to our lovely audience.
Your phone doesn't understand what Do Not Disturb is.
Yeah, that's my vitamin D pill reminder. Anyway, yeah, he went back in time and he figured that his goal was to try and save Hinazaki,
Right.
and because she was the first victim. He learns that she was not actually the first victim of any sort of serial kidnapping, basically. Oh, actually, maybe. But
Well,
anyway.
he doesn't really learn anything like that. He learns that he was able to impact time in that the day that she went missing was extended by a day.
All I want to talk about is Hinazaki's horrible fucking mom and the child abuse.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. But I'm sure that that's probably going to come up again.
Well, also it also helps me to remember that we need to do some sort of a content warning.
Yeah, content warning where there's actual abuse, child abuse specifically pointed out in this anime. So, yeah, trigger warning.
Yeah. Yeah, so Satoru tried to save Hinazaki's life. Included her in a bunch of things that she was not included in the first time. She got to have a few wonderful, wonderful moments that she had never gotten to experience in her very short life. And he was ultimately unsuccessful. She died a day later than she had previously died. Which means he can change stuff. Which means he is now hopeful he can go back and change it again. Because he is in duress while running from the cops from sitting over basically his mom's dead body is when the revival that went back 18 years took place. And when he realized that Hinazaki's mom was throwing out the gloves that Hinazaki had made for him as a present for his birthday, he fucking lost it,
overly emotional,
and screamed and ran, and then that's when he revived back.
But then the last episode that we watched was Irie being in the hospital because she had been saved by the creepy manager, technically also by Satoru, but the creepy manager was like, you shouldn't even be here, I get the credit for this. And so she was saved and she was in the hospital, and her mom actually like body doubled for her so that she could leave and meet up with Satoru, but unfortunately she was followed by the police. And so now Satoru is being arrested, and the very, very last thing that happened was we saw that the killer was there.
Yes.
The mastermind, Moriarty, was there.
I'm going to, real quick, just before that last moment, she was fucking heartbroken that it was her that they followed to arrest Satoru. She was acting as if this was the end for him, that he was going to be, his life was basically over.
Right.
I'm so sorry. She was screaming this.
Right.
And he was like, well, what do I need to say something to
her? What would a superhero say?
This will be the last time I get to see her, really.
Right.
I better say something that helps her. And so he said, he basically said thank you, and he said that I'm glad I trusted you, and you've given me the strength to continue to move forward.
Right.
And so I think he did quite well with that.
Yeah.
But I also think that he has a little bit of a cheat because he's pretty much banking that he's going to get to do a revival or two. I guarantee his thought is that he can do a revival or two and fix this whole thing.
Right. Well, I mean, and then the last thing that happened was we saw the killer's face, and then we saw the blue butterfly, which is the sign of him having a revival. So this next episode is going to be really interesting because I hope that he's going to get to go back.
We'll see. Okay, thanks for hanging out for that very long recap. It's been 6 episodes of a very powerful anime, so I understand, and we're going to boops our way through this. Is there anything else you want to say before we continue?
No, I think that pretty much covers everything.
All right, here we go. Boop! Boop! Okay, so we are at, what's the time?
2:15.
2:15. And all we've really gotten is the recap of him getting arrested, him seeing his rival.
Right.
It's not a good name.
It's not a good name for him, but like that's the best we got right now.
The antagonist here. And that antagonist, as soon as he realized he was recognized, he walked away in glee, by the way. Very happy with himself. And in the last episode, when we saw this moment, there was a blue butterfly.
Yeah, there was just a blue butterfly just right there. But then this time it didn't happen.
No, there was no blue butterfly. And so as Satoru is being brought to the cop car, he kind of like freezes and then just like completely wills a revival.
Yeah. He like kind of has a little bit of an emotional breakdown and like tries to will it.
Like, and he screams, "Go back!" I think out loud, where other people could hear him.
At least one of the times.
And then he literally brought himself back to the moment
when they were in the science center.
Yeah, the science center moment, which is a few days before.
When they were looking at the bear.
Yeah, and the science center was such a great moment too.
It was really a great moment
because it was after Satoru had done the whole fox thing, which, by the way, 6.5 didn't show the foxes. Completely did not show any aspect of the foxes.
Or the Christmas tree.
Showed the Christmas tree.
Oh, okay. Well, there's that, but yeah, the foxes were an important moment.
Yeah,
I thought
they were one of the most amazing moments I've seen in the anime. If I'm being honest, it's a wonderful thing, but they didn't show it.
Weird.
But anyway, this is after that, and so Hinazaki and Satoru have a strong bond at this point. They're both on board with going to the birthday party in a few days, and we all know that ends up being just fucking like out of the park wonderful. And so I'm excited for that. I hope I'm not mumbling too much. Sorry.
Yeah, but then we also know directly following the birthday party is when she disappears.
Right. And we know this is an anime. And there's too much positive stuff happening here. There's just too much. It perfectly landed right here. It was right at the moment when, like, he looked at her after coming back into his 10-year-old body, and she's looking up at the bear and saying something about, like, "Oh, I'm glad I, had the courage to come here today."
Right.
Just, like, happy because it was a good event. And Satoru's fucking crying.
Yeah.
Because he already watched her disappear once.
Right.
And
because there she is. She's right there.
And he desperately wanted to come back to basically around this moment, and he succeeded in doing so. So he's overwhelmed. And then right after that, after she's like, "Are you stupid?" Because like that's what her basic catchphrase to him is. Then all his friends showed up too. So it's too much positivity all in one moment. Like something, I'm expecting the science center to explode right now.
Well, the negativity is that he hasn't changed enough from this moment to avoid the future that he's that he currently just left.
Right. I guess that's true.
So like it's not actually positivity. This is like us coming up for air for a moment so that we can relax a little bit and see what has to be done. Like what's the road forward?
Okay. Probably. All right, well, I'm ready to continue. I just wanted to make sure we pointed it out, and also I wanted to doomsay a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Boop! Boop! We're at 5:07, and motherfucker is fucking with the timeline.
Well, that's his job.
I know that's the point.
That's like the whole point.
But you can't do it that way.
No, at this point, he's broken. He's broken because he tried to do things the simple way, the right way, quote unquote, and it's still fucked up. And I think he's broken now because he's had to watch himself go from they're all alive to I fucking failed. And they're still dead.
Yeah.
And more people are dying. And this guy is like controlling my life and trying to put me in jail. And so like the stakes are raising. And then he comes back here and he's like, "Oh my god, these people are fucking alive again. I can't take this anymore." And he just blurted out something about
you don't have to switch trains.
You don't have to switch trains going to
Ano.
wherever the fuck that is. I don't know what that's about.
I don't know the context either. I don't know because like
is that how was that a thing that she bitched about when she came to his apartment way early in the first episode?
Maybe
about having to switch trains,
or maybe it had something to do with the last day that she was alive that he knows something about. I don't know. I have no idea.
I don't know, but
you can tell.
Yeah, you can tell that he's just struggling to keep it together.
Okay, I just had to bring it up because like it really feels like it feels like one of those moments in these time travel shows or movies when like the protagonist just like loses himself for a moment, loses that need to try and preserve something.
Well, you know that's actually a part of the hero's arc, right? The hero's journey. It requires the hero, the main character, protagonist, whatever, to lose themselves.
Yeah.
In order to find their true selves and then get to the actual resolution. So like this is a textbook part of the hero's journey.
Sure. Makes sense. I mean, we probably find that in everything that has a hero's journey.
Not everything follows the hero's journey.
Well, sure. That makes sense too.
But it is a common theme in a lot of storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why it was pointed out. But yeah. What people that listen to this are often writers.
Yeah.
So,
no, I get it. I get it. I have thoughts, but I don't know how to share them, so I'm not gonna right now.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna right now.
Okay.
But what's interesting to me is the date on the screen right now. What's interesting about it is that February 29th, 1988, we know that's the day that they went to the Science Center.
Right.
And there's
3 days
3
before
days. Yeah.
she disappears. 2 days before their birthday.
Yep. But the date in the native language, I assume that's
Has a
Japanese.
63 in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, what the fuck does that even mean? I don't know.
I think that they were keeping dates different prior to something. I think their calendar
Hiroshima?
possibly
Potentially.
had something to do with that, but I think that they actually kept a different calendar up until kind of recently. But I'm just guessing because 63 is pretty obvious in there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a 6 and a 3.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, I think we're good.
Apropos of nothing, it really doesn't matter. It's
Right.
not related to the rest of anything.
So but you're ready to
Yeah,
continue?
we're ready. We're
All right.
ready.
Boop, boop. We are at, what's the timestamp? 11:23.
We're about halfway through.
Yeah. Satoru is now.
He now has a friend helping him.
Yeah.
Kenya.
Kenya is there kind of helping. Kenya was able to notice stuff as well. Kenya responded as a child. Noticed Hinazaki's bruises and shit, but couldn't do anything because am child.
Right. But then noticed that Satoru just immediately just started doing things.
Right.
Despite being child.
Right. And was like, who the fuck are you?
Who the fuck are you? Yeah.
And then Satoru was like, I'm a superhero. I'm going to try to be. And that convinced Kenya that Satoru is still a kid. I really thought he was going to be like, I'm possessed by my 29-year-old self.
Yeah. I know,
really
right?
did. I really thought that's where we were going. But anyway, but he's running around a lot, Satoru. And also, I'm a little concerned because his whole, like, he's back here. His last chance. This is my last revival, is what he said. And so, whatever I do, it has to be perfect. I have to save her.
Right.
But what's he doing right now? What has all of his actions been in the past couple of minutes? It's been...
repeating the past.
No. It's been creating an alibi for Yuki.
Yeah.
He's here to save Yuki.
Well, I think he's trying to take it from multiple angles.
Yeah, but I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Because I feel like he's spreading his forces a little thin.
Yeah?
We'll see. But I wanted to bring it up because, like, this is the feeling I'm getting. I'm getting dread.
But now he's going somewhere. I don't know where he's
school,
going,
maybe?
but they're like doing the birthday party, and he's going to school, and everybody's like, now?
Right, yeah. So I'm concerned about where he's going right now, but we'll see. Probably not school, honestly.
Probably not, but I don't know, maybe.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Anything else you wanted to say?
No.
I just wanted to bring it up because, like, it's a good moment. Also, I had to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Boop! Boop!
We're at 1443. And Satoru's plan
Can I abduct you?
is just to ask Hinazaki straight out, can I abduct you?
Can I abduct you? Sure.
Well, no, first she's like, are you stupid?
Yeah, Baka no no.
And he's like, yeah, because this is the only plan I can think of. And she's like, sure.
Oh God, it's the fucking cutest goddamn thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I've been in love at 11 years old, thank you, and like that shit's powerful.
Yeah, yeah.
Ugh. I don't know what else to say. I just thought it was really cute.
No,
I just
you,
like it.
you just
I just
became
like
a little
it.
boy. Just
It
all of a
was so
sudden.
cute. I loved it.
Yeah,
Okay.
she wasn't resistant. She's like, you know what? Fine, okay, let's try this.
I wonder if she senses. I wonder if she senses it that her life is potentially like fated to end in a specific way. Because that's what it feels like when you try and save someone's life and you make a change and she still dies.
Right.
It feels like fate.
Right, and I don't know if she feels that, but I'm sure she feels like her life isn't worth continuing as is, and any change that comes along has the power to at least make it different.
Yeah, and this one is potentially not great either. This potentially gives her mom more power over her.
Yeah, but she knows that he cares about her.
Well, yeah, I don't expect her to know this. I'm just saying I don't know if it's going to work out the way that he wants.
Yeah, I mean,
It depends on what
he
his
doesn't
plan is.
either.
I think he's got a plan of some sort. Like, where are they going to go, you know?
Yeah. I don't know.
But it was really cute. I wanted to talk about it. It was super cute. Okay. Anything else you want to say?
No, that's it.
Okay. Boop. Boop. All right. We are at 1934. We're very close to the end here. And Satoru just gave us a nice rundown kind of some changes, of some basic things that happened here. And it does sound like that the kidnapper did actually kidnap Kaio, Hinazuki. I didn't quite understand that before, or I didn't really know.
Why do you feel like the kidnapper did actually kidnap her?
That was part of Satoru's order of events, is that just before dawn, the kidnapper came and kidnapped Hinazuki from the shed.
You mean in the previous versions?
Yeah.
Not in this.
Not right now.
Yeah.
But like in the previous versions, both previous versions, I believe, she was kidnapped from the shed.
Right.
And then she found somewhere else dead.
Right.
Later. Interesting. But
so this seems like a case where like, and we haven't actually like talked about the element of serial killerness to it, but they say that like there's always a first, right? And the first one is usually more vulnerable than the ones that follow. And so it's like it's an opportunity. And so this is sort of like Satoru seeing this serial killer element and being like, if I can just stop the first one, who is most vulnerable, who is in a position where like it's just way too easy to start with her, and then it gets easier and easier with other kids. That might just stop the serial killer from becoming a serial killer. I don't know that that's accurate.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a possibility. We do need to talk about a couple other things, though, real quick, because some interesting stuff happened. First of all, Satoru almost tried to kill, or did try to kill, Hinazaki's mom.
There was definitely murderous intent.
Definitely murderous intent. His eyes turned red.
Yeah.
Like, to the point where I thought, for a moment, like I do,
that he was the killer.
That the killer was Satoru from a different universe.
No.
Those of you...
That's not what's happening. I guarantee 100%. I'm pretty sure I remember who the killer actually is.
We'll see. But Kenya stopped him. Kenya came and stopped him. Yeah. Kenya has become a lot more powerful in this now. He was always very shrewd. You could tell that he was the smart one of the group, the aware one. He had a high wisdom saving throw. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, and he also followed him to Yuki's place, where Satoru actually threw a rock through the
Yeah.
window with saying, "I'll kill you."
I'll kill you. Jesus, Satoru.
Just so that the cops would get called, so that Yuki would have
An alibi.
an alibi where the police were there. They physically saw him.
Which is honestly simplistic of Satoru.
It is.
Because I don't know that that's necessarily going to work
But-
out the way that he thinks it's going to work out. What if Yuki's not there right now? What if Yuki is elsewhere? And so this prevents Yuki from getting an alibi because now Yuki doesn't want to go home while the cops are surrounding this place. Like, there's all kinds of possibilities about why this could go very poorly for Satoru. But, you know, maybe it worked out great. It is an anime. That might have happened. But yeah, Kenya came in and saved the day there. And then also Kenya, it seems, has helped Satoru find a place when kidnapping Hinazuki for her to spend the night in an abandoned bus. A bus that had just stopped being used by the hockey team.
Right.
They got a little heater in there and everything. And it was also kind of cute. But now, it's the next day. Kenya saved them again, woke them up before they had to abandon the bus.
Right,
because
so they had to
kids were
abandon
coming.
the bus. But we don't know where Hinazaki's at
No, we don't know where they put her.
because she's still late to school.
She's still not at school. I don't think she's late. I think she's absent.
Right.
Because we got to the afternoon bell.
But Satoru doesn't seem worried.
No. And Satoru and Kenya have already had a conversation where they're like, well, it's all going okay right now.
Right.
And Hinazaki's mom is not calling the cops.
Right, which, looking at it from Satoru's point of view, is kind of like, so she called the cops because she knew what had happened.
Uh-huh.
And now that she doesn't know what's happening, there's no point to calling the cops.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Hinazaki's mom.
No.
But I think that catches us up.
Yeah.
We are, I think, about to see what's going to happen now from Hinazaki being absent from school, because schools usually respond to no-call, no-shows in a strong way, because they see those kids as their responsibility. And if
Right.
they don't show up, and there's no notification of why they didn't show up, then that's a problem.
Right.
So we'll see. Okay, I'm good. You good?
Yep.
Boop! Boop! We are at timestamp fucking over.
It's not a time.
The episode's over.
The episode's over.
The last little bit was just another scene in the bus. They brought one of the other friends into the thing. They were playing fucking goldfish or whatever. Go fish, not goldfish. Go fish. And the new person was like, but what's the end game here? Like, what's going to happen?
And Satoru's like, don't worry, I will claim full responsibility.
Yeah.
And then Hinazaki's like, you idiot.
Right. Like,
What if I say that it was all my idea and then nobody gets in trouble?
right. Exactly. And everyone was like, wow, that's so smart.
Right.
Um,
Nobody even considered that.
Well, because Satoru didn't want to ask anything more of Hinazuki. Hinazaki has been through so much.
Right.
So I get it. I totally
Yeah.
understand where that was coming from, but at the same time, yeah, it hopefully will work out great. I don't know if it's that airtight, but we'll see. Because she's underage. Like, there's a lot of laws that happen when you're underage that,
Sure, she would get in trouble for running away,
yeah.
but it's not an offense punishable like criminally.
No, I just don't know how it goes into custody. You know what I mean?
Right.
It may make the state look at her mom as being unable to control her child, but it may make the state tell her mom to be more careful.
Honestly, it may work in Hinazaki's favor, saying I didn't want to go home because my mom was going to beat me. You
Right.
know, like
Yeah, if she can share that.
Yeah,
I hope
if she
it's
was
hard. It's
able-
hard to.
But then there was this scene at the very, very end
because it's an anime. It's always at the very, very end.
where we see somebody who is definitely not a child.
No, our greatest hope right now is that the timeline broke, and that's 29-year-old Satoru walking into the bus
With a backpack?
with a backpack. So yeah, we don't know what's going on. I guess our actual greatest hope is that Satoru told Yuki about it, and Yuki is going there to protect her somehow, and didn't announce his presence. So we'll see. But it's probably the killer.
Right.
I mean,
we just have to assume.
it's gonna be the fucking killer, and she's gonna fucking die again, and everything's gonna start all over. Because as you pointed out, we have 5 more episodes to go.
It's not over. We just this is the first episode and the other half. So like
Second
we just
half,
started
yeah.
the second half.
Second
there's
half,
more.
episode 2 or 1. So we will continue this on our next episode.
Yep.
Any other final thoughts you have? Ready for me to do an outro?
I love this anime because it's so real, but I hate reality because this anime points to something that is so real.
Yeah. The reality that this anime points to is tragic and very, very real.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's actually a universal thing, but
well, the
I know
serial killer element's not super common.
No, but the child abuse stuff.
But the child abuse stuff.
I know multiple people that went through, maybe not child abuse to that extent, but I know at least 1 or 2 that did go through child abuse to that extent, and I think that a lot of people do know someone.
I know multiple people.
I know multiple people that were not seen as real humans by their parents a lot, which is basically where it all stems, I think.
Yeah.
I could go on a fucking rant, because I've been watching a lot of politicized content recently, and, I have a lot of very strong feelings about the concept of ownership over your children.
Yeah. That was one thing when we were raising
Our kid.
We can say Kai. Like that's a known thing. Yeah, that was one thing that we both kind of agreed on, was that we don't own this child.
Right.
We are caretakers of this child, and we can try to make them do what we think is best for them to do, but we can't guarantee that they will do it.
No. And we're responsible in the eyes of the law until 18, sure, and possibly beyond in certain regards, depending on what all the laws are. But, it's a separate person that has a whole separate fucking mentality.
Right. And, our job as parents is to help them be a separate person, to learn to be an individual person eventually.
Yeah.
I think a lot, and I don't know this for a fact, but in my experience of the people I've witnessed, the people that I've known from my childhood that were abused, sometimes very violently, it almost seemed to have it wasn't so much like an ownership that kind of like you're thinking, but they connected with the child in a way that child was an extension of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't own the child, they were or the child was a part of them.
Right.
Right? Which, I know it sounds like splitting hairs, but
It sounds worse.
But it really ended up being a result of self-hatred.
Yeah.
They abused their children because they hated themselves.
Right. They were trying to help, quote unquote, help their children not make the same mistakes I made.
Right. And beat the them out of them. Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's not always the case, I don't think. I think there's multiple reasons why people become abusive, but that was one that I found pretty common as I was growing up.
Yeah. And I don't know if this mom in this show is beating her kid because she feels like she owns her kid or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's kind of hard to tell.
Doesn't really matter, because it's still pretty traumatic, the fact that it's happening.
Yeah. But thank you so much, audience, for coming along with us on this journey, for watching and listening, or whatever, to this with us.
Especially if you're listening to the new extended version that we just started doing. If you're interested in doing that, then I am Ooh, I don't know what's going on. Why I keep having these hiccups. I'm gonna put it on Patreon so that the patrons can get the full experience. All the little moments that we keep not capturing.
Right, exactly, because we're giggly or chatty bitches when stuff happens during the runtime of the anime.
Ironically, we didn't have as many this go around as we tend to, but I think the more we do it, obviously, the more it'll happen.
Mm-hmm. And that might mean that the actual official episode of the podcast is a little bit shorter than normal. We have no idea.
Yeah, we have no idea. It's been going on for an hour now. So.
Yeah. But thank you for hanging out. Check out the Patreon to get that full-length episode. We have a Discord where we're live doing this right now while we're recording the episode. So if you ever wanted to hang out with us while we do it live, you're welcome to in the Discord. You can find that through descriptions and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm eternally mortal, and I hope you find smiles this day.
And I'm the accidental monster. You can also go to monsteralley.com to find at least the Discord thing. I don't know. I need to make the links for Patreon a little bit more tight. I'm not good at this stuff yet. Still learning. We're still learning. But yeah, so follow yourself always.
Bye-bye.